Assalamu alaikum, dear brothers and sisters. There are moments in life when everything feels uncertain, when the road ahead is covered in darkness, and no matter how much we try, we cannot see beyond the present moment. We question our struggles, our failures, and even our dreams. But what if, in these very moments, something greater is unfolding? Something unseen, something carefully designed by the one who knows what we do not? Life moves in waves, shifting between ease and hardship. A single moment can change everything. One decision, one event, one test of faith. But what if the moments that shake us the most are not meant to break us, but to rebuild us into something stronger? Everything in existence follows a divine order. The sun does not rise a second too early, nor does the rain fall without purpose. The seed buried deep in the earth must crack open before it can grow into a towering tree. Yet when hardship comes upon us, we often resist. We question. We doubt. We wonder why the answers are hidden, why the struggles persist, why our prayers seem to linger unanswered. But silence from the heavens is not a sign of neglect. It is a sign that something is in motion beyond what the eyes can see. There is wisdom in every delay, purpose in every setback. And trusting Allah's plan does not mean life will always be easy. It means knowing, deep in your heart, that no matter where you are never abandoned. Think back to the moments in your life when you felt lost. The times when you thought you had reached the end, when you believed nothing would ever change. Yet somehow, time passed, and you found yourself standing in a place you never expected. How many of those painful moments shaped you? How many of them brought you closer to Allah? When a child falls while learning to walk, the mother does not rush to stop the fall every time. She watches, she waits. She allows the child to struggle because she knows, without those falls, the child will never learn to stand. In the same way, life must push you, challenge you, and at times even break you, so that you can grow into the person you were meant to be. Perhaps the unanswered prayers are a form of protection. Perhaps the closed doors are steering you toward something greater. Perhaps the pain you feel now is carving out space for something more beautiful than you can imagine. To trust in Allah's plan is to surrender the need for immediate answers. It is to walk forward with the certainty that every twist, every turn, every delay is not a mistake, but a piece of a greater design. What is written for you will reach you, even if all the forces of the world try to stop it. And what is not meant for you will never be yours, no matter how much you chase it. So take a deep breath. Let go of the fear. Place your trust in the one who has never failed you. Because even in the moments of uncertainty, even in the silence, even in the waiting, Allah is near. And His plan is always greater than ours. Before starting this video, do not forget to like this video, because it gives us a lot of strength to continue sharing beneficial content. And I invite you to subscribe to our channel and activate the notification bell to stay informed of our upcoming publications on the Islamic faith. Thank you and good video. Imagine this. Musa, AS, and his people stood at the edge of the Red Sea. The water stretched endlessly before them, waves rising and falling with a quiet indifference. Behind them, the earth trembled under the weight of Pharaoh's army. The pounding of hooves, the clash of metal, the war cries of soldiers. Death was closing in from behind, and an unmovable barrier stood in front. Fear spread like wildfire among the people. Panic turned to despair. Hearts pounded, breaths quickened. We are trapped. There is no escape. The whispers became cries. The cries became shouts. Hope crumbled like sand slipping through fingers. Yet, in the midst of this chaos, Musa, A.S., stood unmoved. He was not a man without fear, but he was a man with trust. Trust so unshakable that not even the might of Pharaoh's army could break it. Kalla, inna ma'iya rabbi sayahdin. No, indeed, my Lord is with me and he will guide me. Qur'an 26:62. No plan, no visible way forward, and yet certainty filled his heart. He did not know how Allah would save them, only that He would. Then, in a moment beyond human understanding, the sea moved. The waters did not simply part. They rose like towering walls, opening a path where there had been none. Dry land stretched ahead, a road carved by the command of Allah. The very thing that had seemed to block their escape became the means of their salvation. The sea that could have drowned them now stood aside, obeying the will of its creator. The people, still trembling, stepped forward, their feet touching the dry ground where waves had crashed just moments before. They walked, hearts pounding, through a valley of water between walls held up by divine decree. Behind them, Pharaoh and his army gave chase, blind to the power they were defying. They entered the path with arrogance, believing they could seize what Allah had protected. But as soon as Musa, A.S., and his people reached the other side, the sea roared back to life. The walls collapsed. The waves rushed forward, swallowing everything in their path. In an instant, the mightiest ruler on earth and his vast army were no more. And there, on the other shore, the believers stood, saved, free, and witnessing the power of Allah's promise.
How many times in life does it feel like we are standing before our own Red Sea? A problem too big, a situation too impossible, an enemy too strong. How many times do we feel trapped, convinced there is no way forward? But just because we cannot see a way does not mean there isn't one. Just because the path is hidden does not mean it does not exist. The same Allah who parted the sea for Musa, A.S., is the same Allah who watches over you now. The same power that created an escape where there was none is the same power guiding your life. Perhaps the hardship in front of you is not the end, but the beginning. Perhaps the very thing that seems to be blocking your way will, by the will of Allah, become the path to your greatest victory. You are not alone. The army behind you, the sea before you, none of it matters when Allah is with you. When the world says, there is no way, remember the words of Musa, A.S. No, indeed, my Lord is with me and He will guide me. What if the very thing that weighs on your heart today, the problem that keeps you awake at night, is not a burden, but a doorway? What if the pain you are feeling is not a punishment, but a transformation? There are moments in life when everything seems to stand still. You look at where you are and wonder, why is this happening? Why hasn't my dua been answered? Why do I feel stuck in this endless waiting? The mind races, searching for explanations, for meaning. The silence feels unbearable, and doubt begins to whisper, has Allah forgotten me? But pause for a moment. Shift your perspective. What if the very thing you are desperate to change is the very thing Allah is using to change you? What if the delay is not rejection, but preparation? What if the struggle is not a barrier, but a bridge? Think about the prophets. Every single one of them was tested. Yusuf, As, was thrown into a well and left for dead. Years passed before he saw the wisdom behind that moment. But without the well, there would have been no journey to Egypt. Without Egypt, there would have been no rise to power. Without the hardship, there would have been no victory. Imagine if Yusuf, A.S., had given up in the darkness of the well. Imagine if he had believed for even a moment that Allah had abandoned him. Now think about your own life. How many times have you prayed for something only to face obstacle after obstacle? How many times have you asked Allah for ease, only to feel the weight of difficulty pressing down on you instead? But what if the delay is part of the answer? What if the difficulty is part of the path? A caterpillar does not know, as it wraps itself in darkness, that it is on the verge of wings. A seed buried beneath the soil does not see the sunlight, but beneath the surface, something is happening. Something is growing. Something is becoming. And so are you. And so are you. If you truly believe that Allah is Al-Hakim, the Most Wise, then why fear the future? If you trust that He sees what you do not, then why be afraid of what is unfolding? The tests you face are not random. They are precise. They are calculated. They are designed by the one who loves you more than you love yourself. Perhaps the job that slipped through your fingers was never meant for you. Perhaps the person who left was never written in your story's ending. Perhaps the unanswered prayer is saving you from something you cannot yet see. So ask yourself, what if today's hardship is tomorrow's blessing in disguise? What if what feels like a setback is actually a setup for something greater? What if, right now, Allah is preparing you for something you cannot even imagine? The question that changes everything is not why is this happening to me, but what is Allah teaching me through this? Because once you shift your mindset from resistance to surrender, from doubt to trust, from fear to faith, everything changes. The pain remains, but it no longer breaks you. The waiting continues, but it no longer weakens you. The uncertainty lingers, but it no longer shakes you, because you know. You know that behind every delay, every hardship, every unanswered prayer, there is wisdom. And the one who writes your story has never made a mistake. A mother bird perches on the edge of her nest, watching her baby hesitate. The wind is strong. The drop below is frightening. The little bird does not know that it was created to soar. It clings to the safety of the nest, unaware that staying there forever would mean never discovering its wings. Then, in an act of love, the mother pushes. The baby falls, flapping wildly, fear gripping its tiny heart. And then, just as it seems the ground is too close, just as the fall feels endless, something changes. The wings catch the air, the fear turns to flight, and in that moment, the bird understands. It was never meant to stay in the nest. How many times in life do we feel like that baby bird? Clinging to comfort, afraid of the unknown, shaken by the sudden push of a trial we never saw coming? How many times do we beg for the pain to end, unaware that through this very pain, Allah is teaching us how to fly? The wisdom of a trial is not always visible from where we stand. A seed buried in darkness does not see the sky, does not understand why it has been split open. If the seed had a voice, it might cry out in confusion. Why am I being broken? But only through that breaking does it begin to grow. Only through the darkness does it push toward the light. And so it is with us. The hardship you are facing today may feel unbearable. The unanswered questions, the quiet prayers, the nights spent in silent frustration, everything seems unclear. But know this, nothing in your life is happening without purpose. Allah is not only Ar-Rahman, the most merciful, but also Al-Hakim, the most wise. He does not allow a single drop of rain to fall without reason. He does not decree a single moment in your life, except that it carries meaning, even if you do not yet understand it. Think back to a moment in your past when you thought you would never heal, a test you believed would break you, a loss that seemed impossible to bear. And yet, here you are. You survived. You grew. You changed. And one day, this trial, this storm you are in right now, will also make sense. Perhaps the closed door was protecting you from harm. Perhaps the delay was strengthening your patience. Perhaps the loss was creating space for something far greater. The storm must come before the rainbow appears. The hardship must pass before relief arrives. And every moment of struggle is leading you somewhere beautiful, even if, right now, all you see is rain. Trust the process. Trust the wisdom. Trust the one who writes your story, because he sees what you do not, and he loves you more than you can imagine. So what should we do? How do we move forward when life feels uncertain, when the road ahead is covered in mist, when every step forward feels like stepping into the unknown? The answer lies in two things: sabr, patience, and tawakkul, trust. Sabr, the ability to endure without losing faith, to hold on when everything inside you wants to let go. It is knowing that Allah's plan unfolds in its own perfect time, even when the waiting feels endless. Tawakkul, the art of surrendering your worries to Allah because He is in control. It is the deep, unshakable belief that you do not walk this path alone, that every moment of uncertainty is already known and accounted for by the one who holds the heavens and the earth. Allah promises in the Qur'an, "And whoever relies upon Allah, then He is sufficient for him." Qur'an 65:3. Imagine a small child crossing a busy road, their tiny fingers wrapped around their father's hand. Cars rush past, sounds blur together, everything around them feels chaotic. But the child does not panic. They do not stop in fear or hesitate in doubt. They simply hold on and trust that the one leading them will guide them safely to the other side. That is tawakkul. That is the kind of trust Allah wants from you. To believe that even when life is uncertain, He is guiding you. Even when you don't understand the delays, He is protecting you. Even when things don't go as planned, He is preparing something better. But tawakkul is not just belief. It is action. It is taking the step even when you don't see the whole staircase. It is making dua with full conviction that Allah hears you, even if the answer hasn't arrived yet. It is moving forward with the certainty that whatever is written for you will reach you, and whatever is not meant for you will never be yours, no matter how much you chase it. Sabr and tawakkul are the keys to peace in a world of uncertainty. They free the heart from anxiety, the mind from overthinking, and the soul from despair. When you have them, you no longer fear what tomorrow may bring, because you know who is writing your story. So hold on. Even when it's difficult, even when it feels like nothing is changing, even when the storm doesn't seem to end.
Because the one who parted the sea for Musa, the one who brought Yusuf, out of the darkness, the one who saved Yunus, from the belly of the whale, that same one is taking care of you. You sit in silence, the weight of your worries pressing against your heart. Questions swirl in your mind. Why is this happening? When will things get better? Why can't I see the way forward? Maybe today, you don't understand. Maybe everything feels uncertain, and your heart carries burdens too heavy to explain. The road ahead looks unclear, and the waiting feels endless. But my dear brothers and sisters, if you trust in Allah's plan, then know this. Your story is not over. This moment of difficulty is not your final chapter. The hardship you are facing is not the end. It is just one part of a greater journey. A journey written by the one who knows you better than you know yourself. The doors that are closed today will open in ways you never expected. Think of every test you have overcome, every moment you thought you wouldn't survive, but you did. Think of the ways Allah has guided you before, even when you didn't see it at the time. And know that right now, He is guiding you still. Because the one who created the heavens and the earth is the one who is guiding your soul. So breathe. Let go of the fear, the doubt, the need to control everything. Your life is in the hands of Ar-Rahman, the most merciful. Your future is being written by Al-Hakim, the most wise. And your hardships are known to us, Sami, the one who hears every whisper of your heart. Have faith, even in the darkness, even in the waiting, even when things don't make sense. Trust in the plan of Allah, for He is always with you, Ameen.